Hi, and welcome to Business Spotlights, where today I am joined by Steve Logan, who's the MD at Steader Group Limited. Welcome, Steve.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today. I guess it'd be great just to kick us off to give us a bit of background into what you do at Steader Group Limited.
Okay, we're a logistics, transport and forwarding company. We opened up in Hillington 2016 with 12 staff. We're now moving into the realms of a 30-40 million pound a year turnover. We've 6 different premises. We own our own transport fleet of, I think it's in the region of about 10 Arctics, 32 odd trailers. We specialise in freight forwarding, logistics services that include warehousing, container storage, container devanning, projects, road freight, courier business, a whole array of different freight forwarding logistics areas of business.
Yeah. And so tell us a bit of background then, because it sounds like quite a complex business to be in. Is it something you've been doing for a while?
Yes, I started when I was 4 years old.
Yes.
32 years with originally with LEP and then with UTI.
Yeah.
And we left UTI in 2016 and set up Steader Group, which has been on the go now for we're on our 8th year.
And so that sounds like massive growth in quite a short period of time. It's just 7 years. You were 12 staff. You're now what?
62 and counting, with probably up to about 80 with temps and contract workers.
Right. And what have some of the growing pains been during that time, Steve? Because I guess it's maybe not been without bumps in the road.
Yeah, well, I mean, we grew very, what's the right phrase? We grew in the right way between 16 and the end of 19. We were steady growth, double-digit figure growth each year. And then the pandemic kicked in and the world went mad. And logistics all over the world just went into a mad, incredible phase that I've never experienced in the many years that I'd mentioned before, where literally the entire world went into panic. All the UK customers were panicking. It was all about getting inventory in, the shipping costs and bringing containers in for the US, no matter what type of equipment, just went through the roof. In the main because of demand, displacement, issues at the ports, staffing issues, COVID issues. And it was just an incredible time for logistics companies. And we just saw growth just was in the process of going in that direction based on the business plan that we had in place anyway. But that just sped the whole process up considerably. So the last few years have just been just a crazy time. It's eased off now. Container prices have dropped back to where they were, probably lower than what they were before the pandemic. Business is it's evening off. We are in tougher times. There's no doubt about that. So it's really all about making sure you manage your business and tighten that belt where you can. And growth is probably, I think we're probably in the same boat as most of all the logistics companies, where we don't anticipate a great deal of growth now. It's really all about managing and retaining your business and your clients, and then hopefully we'll begin to see some growth towards the end of this year.
Okay.
Into the 4th quarter, most of all the big global conglomerates are forecasting a little bit of a turnaround towards the end of Q3, going into Q4, and then into 2024.
And would that be typical? Like most businesses have a season or a cycle. Would it usually pick up in Q4 anyway?
Well, yeah, it does for obvious reasons. Q3, Q4 with regards to the Christmas and the peak seasons coming out of the Far East.
Yeah,
that's always most of our busy period. But over the course of the last 5-10 years, it's more of an even out process now as companies work on a much more professional type supply chain, so to speak. So it's evened out. It's the last couple of years, as I said, it was crazy, but we haven't really seen any peak season coming out of the Far East, where most of the goods, let's be honest, most of the goods come from. Yeah, most of the trade. and obviously one other area that I've not mentioned that's had a big, massive impact on our industries was Brexit. You know, industries that had to change just the way they did things effectively. Gone back to the way it was 20 years before we joined the EU, but there's not so many people that are still in the industry that were there that can remember what it was like then. So Brexit's made a big, massive difference. You know, we've effectively added another string to our bow with our brokerage division, and that's the same for all the forwarders. Everything that comes in and out of the country now needs to be cleared out and cleared in. So that's effectively giving everybody another. Our industry in particular, a shot in the arm with another additional revenue stream. And so, before, obviously, it came in and went out freely within the EU. So,
and another thing for you to consider, I guess, a fairly significant impact in your business. And you mentioned double-digit growth in the first 3 years. How did that happen? How did you set about making that happen?
Obviously, it all came in the main from the client base that we had prior to setting up Steader Group. We had been in the industry for a long time. The guys that were brought on board, Sean Ward as our sales director, Fraser Spears, they all had a lot of contacts in the industry. And we had a business plan in place to start looking for individuals, like-minded individuals like ourselves that could set up their own divisions. So we were fairly quickly, we set up, we began to start picking up clients. The business started to grow as we were adding more and more business to our books. And we then started opening up new additional divisions. We opened up Aberdeen in August 2016. And then at the beginning of towards the end of 2017, we set up another division up in Queensland, through which was titled Steeder Agency. And these guys did their own book of business with them, which again gave us a fairly sizable increase in step forward. And that continued. We've now got about 6 or 7 different divisions that also includes the brokerage. So that was the business plan, to start opening up there, and ultimately through our sales team continuing to add clients into the pot and never stop. You can never stop and stand still in our industry.
Yeah. And what key learnings have you had over the time then?
Key learnings, goodness. I don't know where I would start. Yeah, it's been challenging because of the way it's grown and the way the business has moved. And like any business, the more and more staff you add, the more and more challenges that come with that. And keeping up with legislation, keeping up with HR rules and the changes there, and all that good stuff.
And so, mentioning the people then, how important, you mentioned key people, how important are the individuals that you employ? You know, how do you go about making sure you get the best people in the industry?
That's never going to be the easiest thing in the world, but we try to well, thankfully, as an independent, we're not tied to any corporate organization at all. Thankfully, as an independent, we get to make the decisions. So we're the guys that set the tune, so to speak. So we've really tried to create a kind of family atmosphere. Each and every one of the guys that are on board, you know, they're known from the top down, first name terms, and everybody that works for us has got a key position, you know, within the company. And we try to make them feel valued in that respect, from the drivers to the warehouse guys, from the warehouse guys to the guys in brokerage, to the guys in each of the divisions, and the staff within them. They're all vital to the company.
Yeah. And how do you get that family feel then? I'm just kind of keen to understand, with that many people, how do you embed that into the organization?
Well, we try to have as many events as possible, albeit because of COVID, that's not been as easy as we would like. And it's one of the challenges that we have to face. But you know, we have try and keep the management structure as level as possible. I do a lot of visiting to the divisions, as do the other managers, and the other managers are extremely down to earth. Have been in the industry a long time as well. So it's really all about trying to lead by example and trying to give the guys as a comfortable environment as possible. It's a little bit difficult because of the growth. The growth has been, as I said, fairly phenomenal. And the fact that we're not in the one building has its plus factors, because it stops people from falling out, because if they're stuck with each other for so long each day. But again, it also takes away a wee bit of that family atmosphere that we're trying to create.
Mm. And how did you manage that then through lockdown? Because that is more difficult than some businesses where you've got multiple sites as well as people.
Well, like most businesses, when Boris Johnson shut us down in March, everybody kind of panicked because nobody really knew what they were dealing with. So
Yeah.
initially, we put quite a sizable chunk of our guys out in furlough, and fairly quickly over the course of April and May, we began to drag them all back in again to try and come up with a plan to allow them to work from home. Certain areas of our business you can. And where we could, we set them up with their PCs and phones at home.
Yeah.
Others we managed to bring into the office and try and develop a plan where everybody kept their distance. So it was a really challenging phase, not just for us, but I'm sure for everybody and for all our clients as well.
And did you change your model at all in terms of allowing people to work from home? Or, and if not, did you find it easy to bring them back into the office? Because I hear some stories that there's some reticence with people to go back to the office, having been at home for so long.
Yeah, we've still got one or two that work from home, but by and large, by the end of 2020, most of our guys were back in the office, because everything's so, with regards to Sterling Group, we're so, everybody works together, all divisions work together. We've got our own transport fleets. The transport fleet effectively services all the different divisions.
Yeah.
So they all really need to be together. And we felt that works a lot better for us. Again, there was a period where people were working from home, and we still allow that where possible.
Yeah.
But the ideal situation for us is that we try and get everybody back together to try and work together and try and get that family atmosphere going again. But it was a challenge, and there was no easy answer to it, Yvonne.
Yeah. No, I was just interested to hear your experience. And so what changes do you think you'll see in your industry or sector in the next 5 years that might mean you have to adapt to them or change how you work?
Oh, I'm on a call. Sorry. It's going to be challenging for sure. There'll always be consolidation, especially with the big guys. They're always out there either buying each other up or trying to buy the other big agents. I would suspect that technology is going to have a big impact on our business as well. Already has. Technology is moving at a greater pace than any of us envisaged, especially the older chaps like myself. So it's been a real challenge from that perspective. I think we'll probably see more of the same for the way our industries went in the last 5 years. I think it'll be more consolidation. The industry will get bigger, but it'll also become smaller.
Yeah. And is your plan to still grow and expand your base, or do you think you're kind of probably at the level you're going to reach? What do you think's going to happen?
Well, there's only so far you can go through organic growth.
Yeah.
There's only so far you can go. And it's the same with any growing forward or so. In 2021, there was a change with our partner, Steeder BV. Renus Spikers, who was a main shareholder at Steeder BV, decided that at the age of 73 it was time to retire. So he sold up his shareholding to a company in Holland called Neil Vat, who effectively became our main shareholder partner. So they're a huge organisation in Holland, working in the warehousing and transport logistics industry over there.
Yeah.
And they're expanding all the time. They're going through quite a fairly sizable acquisition set up at the moment across Europe. And we're setting up in the US, and we've also set up in the US. USA is another area that we expanded into in 2021, March 21.
Right, okay.
So, the US is going to be a fairly sizable target area for growth and acquisition, and I would suspect that over the course of the next couple of years, I would anticipate that Steeder UK would be also looking at an acquisition to get us to that next level.
Yeah.
as fast as we can, rather than continuing to chase the organic route. Organic route, really, to a certain degree, once you get to a certain level, keeps you at that level for a while, but
Yeah.
you have to look at acquisition.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Interesting. So if you were to start it all again, Steve, what would you do differently?
God, there's a question.
Wow.
Do you know what? I really wouldn't do very much differently.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do very much differently. I couldn't have asked for a better 7 or 8 years. It's been fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah. It sounds like you've had amazing success in quite a short period of
It's
time.
been great. It's been great. In the main, it's been down to the staff and ultimately down to the clients for supporting us and accepting our failures when we failed, and also encouraging us and developing the relationship with us to allow us to grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's they play as much a key part as we have, and as much as the staff have.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you to go back to, give advice to anyone else starting out in business or earlier in their journey than you are, what kind of key advice would you give somebody?
Again, you've just got to go for it. If you've got a plan, you've just got to go for it and take that chance if that's what you really want to do. But you've also got to learn to be able to work extremely hard. The hours are long, the pressures are there, and certainly enjoy the successes when they come. I mean, I'm not the first person to say that. I'm a.
Do you know what? Most people don't.
Most people will tell you that, won't they?
Well, no, everyone's got a different take on it, and it's just different. You get different things from different people. But the bit I really like what you said there is about celebrating successes, because that's what people don't do. Do you know? A lot of the time they plod on and do what it is they need to do, but they don't stop and look at how far they've come.
Yeah, and don't be too hard on yourself.
Yeah. I also like that aspect of feeling's okay. Do you know? You said something there about your customers accepted you when you failed, because we all get it wrong sometimes, don't we?
That's an inevitability in our industry, because we're relying on too many partners with regards to airlines, shipping lines, transport companies, brokers. It's nothing will ever go right all the time in our industry, and you have to be prepared for it and know the pitfalls and accept it when it's went wrong, and sometimes hold your hand up. And don't come away with the daft excuses that a lot of people come away with, particularly politicians.
Yeah, take ownership and accountability. I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Steve. Look, thanks for joining us today. Lots of great nuggets in there for people to listen to. I wish you continued success.
Thank you, Yvonne. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.